Hi, I'm Tyler, and welcome to another episode of my Christian Media Week reviews. Each week I take 5 releases, be it albums, beats, or singles, and after I listen to them all week, I come back here and I read them and I share what I think about them. So what are we waiting for? Let's dive into this week's first release. For King Country's, What Are We Waiting For? The single. So before I dive into my thoughts on For King Country's, What Are We Waiting For? The single, let me just give a little bit of a context here. So, a little over a year ago, For King Country put out an album called What Are We Waiting For? Pretty good album, by the way, and you can go back and check out my review on that album after this video. But, at the time, the album did not have a title track. But now, the song of the same name, What Are We Waiting For? Is out. So, now that I got my little intro out of the way there, let's talk about the actual song from For King Country, What Are We Waiting For? So, pretty good song here. Stylistically, definitely got an upbeat pop alternative feel. And as for the lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here. Really like the bold call to go and reflect Jesus' love here. And as for the lyrics here, For King Country talks about how we need to stop waiting to step out from comfort in faith, to spend our one life to shine the light of Jesus' love that changes us forever. Up next, former Third Day lead singer Mac Powell's new live album, Live from Red Rocks. Former Third Day lead singer Mac Powell's new live album, Live from Red Rocks. Let's dive into it. So, pretty good album here. Pretty good concert here. Mac Powell does a good job performing here. In the setlist is a mixture of songs from his current soul stuff and his past Third Day stuff. There is also a cover of Fleetwood Mac's Don't Stop. Stylistically here, Southern rock that can sometimes spear into Southern pop rock. Also, contemporary and worship influences here. As for how the studio versions and the live versions compare, they're pretty similar for the most part. The only thing I would note that is different is Soul on Fire is played in a different key, and Love Song, part of the Request Time acoustic medley, is played in a different key as well, but otherwise very similar between the live and the studio versions here. And as for the lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here. Mac Powell talks about how when he wandered into sin in a hard time that destroyed everything, he put his faith in God to in his love, drew Jesus' sacrificial blood on the cross to be with Mac, to save Mac from his sin, to revive him to live a new life where Mac joyfully desires God's heart. Up next, Clemmons' new single, Miracle. So before I dive into my thoughts on Clemmons' new single, Miracle, which is going to be on her upcoming album that is set to release this fall, let me just thank The Christian Life for requesting this song, along with Trampolines' cover of Waymaker that I'm going to get to a little later on in this video, but let's talk about Clemmons right now. So, Miracle is a pretty good contemporary pop and R&B ballad here, and as for the lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here too as well. Rowley talks about how she's heard of all the amazing miracles God has done, and she's seen that in the way that the love of this person that she's talking to in this song reflects God's glorious love, and the way that this person reflects God's glorious love has changed Rowley's life from her broken past. Up next, Jonny Henninger's new EP, So Much to Say, Part 2. Alright, The Christian Life, I'm gonna get to your other request of Trampolines' cover of Waymaker up next, but before I do, I'm gonna take a little aside here to talk about Jonny Henninger's new EP, So Much to Say, Part 2. Let's dive into it. So, pretty good EP here. Stylistically, definitely a mix of lo-fi, pop, alternative, and a little bit of worship as well here. And as for the lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here. Jonny talks about how the hurt of being thrown away by a girl after others' criticism is stressing him out, and it's causing him to run from the Lord God in prideful doubt. But God, in his faithful love, is with Jonny to draw Jonny back to himself and help Jonny to forgive those who criticized him, and peacefully trust in God's strength to protect him, and in perfect timing, heal Jonny from the pain into something better. Up next, our last release for today, Trampolines' new single, a cover of Waymaker. Alrighty, The Christian Life, it's time to get to your other request of Trampolines' cover of Waymaker. Thanks again, The Christian Life, for requesting this single from Trampolines along with Raleigh Clemmons' single that I covered a little earlier on in the video. Now let's dive into Trampolines' cover of one of my favorite worship songs, Waymaker. So, pretty good song here, stylistically, definitely an unconventional cover here, with kind of a synth pop worship feel to it. Pretty good cover here, even if unconventional, and definitely strong synth burst there at a few points during the song here. And as for the lyrics here, so again, I said this is one of my favorite worship songs, and that's because the lyrics are really awesome. And as for the lyrics here, Lane talks about how even when it's hard to see in the dark, God faithfully keeps his promise to be with Lane to miraculously make a way for lives to be transformed. Well, that's it for this week. Come back next week for 5 more releases. If you like what's on this video, please subscribe. I put out videos every Friday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Time. Also, if you have any thoughts on today's releases or what I may have said about them, let me know down in the comments below. Also, in the comments, you can let me know if there's any awesome releases that came out today that you want to see in next week's video. Also, check out the playlist section for Means Month Dreams playlist available here on YouTube and also on Spotify. And this month's edition of the playlist includes songs from artists like Matthew West, Colton Dixon, Austin French, and others. So go and check it out if you're interested. Well, go now. See you next week. Bye!